Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to night number 6 of the overnight feed recaps. And a good Wednesday morning to y'all. All right. Normally Tuesdays are kind of chill days inside the Big Brother house. Normally, people have lost the backyard. They know who's going to be on the block, who's up for eviction on Thursday nights. People kind of chill on Tuesday with the idea that starting on Wednesday, they'll be campaigning and you'll start ramping up the stress a little bit. Yeah, none of that's going on in this house in this season. Why would you expect it to be a normal season based on what we've seen so far? Now, we had some excitement last night. We're going to talk about it. First of all, just as a reminder, we've got right now Kimo and Kenny and Matt on the block. One of them will be coming off with the BB Arena fight that's coming up before the eviction. And there was a lot of talk about that last night. Who comes off, who survives different votes. We'll cover a little bit of that. But we had some arguments as well. But we've got the backyard still open. That surprises me a little bit. Normally the backyard closes at, say, 5 a.m., 6 a.m. on a Tuesday morning so that production can start building the set for the eviction ceremony. We don't have that. As of this morning, when I'm taping this thing, it looks like the backyard is still open, which tells me a couple of things. That if it's going to be an HOH competition in the backyard, it's a very simple setup. A bunch of viewing booths where you're watching a video, for example, that's pretty quick to set up. Or that the HOH competition could be taking place later on Thursday. That still doesn't make sense. They wouldn't already have the backyard shut down. Or that it also tells me that this BB Arena competition probably is not going to take place in the backyard, but off at an alternate location. So based on what we saw, I'm kind of thinking this next HOH may not be a big, complex, competitive or endurance type, that it may just be watching something on a monitor, picturing different numbers, letters, etc. We'll see if that holds true. But yeah, a little strange that the backyard is still open. All right, with that being said, let's talk about the live feeds, because we had some conversations taking place. We'll start off with it seems like fairly long backyard conversation between Kenny and Angela. Now, if you remember earlier, I guess it was yesterday or the day before, Angela kind of got upset because Kenny said, Matt's my guy. I'm not even going to try if it's him and I against each other. Just vote me out and keep Matt instead. He wants it. He deserves it. So do that. Angela did not want to hear that. She called out Kenny. Well, they now have a little bit of a follow-up conversation to that. Kenny had come back a little later and said, look, it's my daughter's birthday. I'm just feeling in the dumps. Well, they have a little bit longer conversation out by the hammock at this point in time, starting with the discussion of whether Kenny actually wants to stay or not. And he's saying, I'm fine. I'll do what I need to do to try to stay. So they talk about that. But quickly changes into yet another conversation of Angela justifying her nomination, of why she put Kenny up, what he did wrong, what she was thinking when she put him up. So talking about that, and then evolves into the even more common topic of Angela complaining about Matt and the way he did her dirty, and lots of talk about he didn't even give me a hug at the end of the ceremony. And she said that's like a spit in the face to not give. He gave everyone else hugs, but he didn't give her hugs. I guess hugs are important. We know what Angela's love language is. Hugs, it sounds like. So yeah, they have a little bit of a conversation on that. That's just a precursor to the main convo we had last night, some of which we got to see. Unfortunately, some of which we didn't. Big Brother cut away, so we'll have to watch on one of the upcoming shows. So let's start that little topic off right now. We had Lisa and Angela sitting, having a heated discussion at the hammock. And I think I said earlier it was Kenneth and Angela at the hammock. I don't remember where they were now, but the hammock conversation was Lisa and Angela. Now remember, Angela nominated Lisa, blindsided Lisa with that nomination. Lisa's been a little upset ever since then. Angela's also been saying that she knows for a fact that Lisa has one of these upgrade powers. So yeah, there's a little friction that we've seen between these two. So we have the two of them in a heated discussion in the hammock. Angela at one point says, Lisa, I was your person, but now I'm thinking that maybe I was never yours. It was very one-sided. We kind of heard Lisa say the same thing. I think it was to Matt and Mackenzie at some point about 24 hours ago. But Angela saying, yeah, I wanted to work with you. I was your person, but you just didn't reciprocate, Lisa. And so we do have that going on. Lisa, and this is, I think, the spark that set everything off afterwards. Lisa tells Angela, says, look, if I associate too closely with you in this house right now, it could impact my relationships in the real world. In other words, I'm gonna have to distance myself from you because you're so toxic that it's gonna affect me in real life if I hang with you too much. Kind of hate hearing that. I want people to play the game true and pure and based on strategy and not out of fear of social media or other relationships or anything that's going on outside of the house. But Lisa threw down the gauntlet saying it's not just in the house and gameplay. It's actually me thinking about my after Big Brother life and how it will be negatively impacted if I hang with you and I work with you too closely, Angela. Yeah, that's the start of it. Quickly after that, we go to the we'll be right back. The fish, if I recall, I didn't even bother to turn the light on. You barely see those fish, but we went for a couple of hours with we'll be right back. I know there was some talk online of is Angela walking out the door? Is that it for? After the long speech that she gave to Kenny, I don't think there's any way she could have done that. I wasn't expecting it. Sure enough, eventually the feeds come back after a couple of hours, and what an iconic way to come back. They come back. It's a shot of Angela up in her HOH room. She's got her blanket pulled all the way up to her neck. My first thought was she looked a little bit like Jack Nicholson from The Shining when he's giving the death stare. Go check out that movie if you haven't seen it. Scary movie. But Angela just giving a very stern looking look. I assume maybe she was looking at the monitor because at one point she says, oh, there's Lisa. Oh, Lisa, it's so fantastic. So high and mighty Lisa is. She never makes mistake. There she is. Hi, Lisa. So yeah, Angela calling out Lisa a little bit on the monitors. Obviously, there's drama that took place over the last couple hours. I'm sure we'll see it on one of the upcoming episodes, but I wish we'd been able to see it in its full couple of hour glory, because apparently it wasn't just the two of them. It sounds like, if not a house meeting, certainly it involved other people. Lisa, and it sounds like Lisa originated it. Maybe who knows who called at who, but certainly everyone was paying attention to the fight that took place at that point in time. Seeming like there could have been some fireworks between Angela and Lisa that night that pulled in others. As I said, we've got some discussions, people trying to recover or just help out afterwards, cover their own bases. Out in the backyard around the pool table, I think it was, Quinn is seeming to apologize or at least explain something to Lisa about some comments that he made, perhaps. Kimo is talking about telling Lisa that he didn't necessarily take the comments personally. He says something about you just won veto, so I knew you were just happy, and so I didn't take it personally. But maybe it's got a little bit to do with the veto speech itself, as the veto ceremony, as opposed to the veto competition. That maybe Lisa was a little too happy, a little too flippant for some people, and maybe just I don't know. Maybe it's the fact Kimo was still on the block and Lisa wasn't. We don't know because we haven't seen that yet. We should see that in tonight's show. But anyway, we've got a couple of people kind of saying, hey, Lisa, we get it, or we're sorry, we're kind of on your side. Those types of conversations taking place. All right. We had T-Core at one point telling Chelsea that Kimo is going to sleep in her bed, so she doesn't have to share a bed with Angela. So apparently everyone's trying to distance themselves from Angela just a little bit at this point in time. All right. So lot of repercussions, a lot of ripples in the stream or in the lake, so to speak, with this fight. I wish we'd been able to see it. All right, we've got Brooklyn and MJ in the backyard saying that Kimo has said that if he wins the BB Arena competition, that he will vote to save Matt, even though Angela has been telling them, I think this is according to Brooklyn, Angela's been saying that there right now are enough votes. There are like 8 votes to get out Matt. So she feels comfortable that Matt's going home. Kimo is saying, if I get out, if I am not on the block, I'm voting to save Matt. I think Matt will be okay. They feel that nominating Angela next week will be the easiest solution. We hear that a little bit later from Cedric as well. Unfortunately, justified or not, right or wrong, Angela has alienated the rest of the house. I was a little bit nervous about hitching their wagon to her. Now, Tucker may be one of the few that are still left, but there's a lot of them who are starting to pull back from Angela. I think that doesn't bode well for her future in the Big Brother house. I feel sorry for her. Angela is playing way too hard, way too emotional, but it's because she's obviously passionate about this game. Sometimes it takes more than passion. Sometimes it takes a little patience, a little discipline, and she's just playing the game 110%. I hate 110. I was playing 100%. All right, we'll see with that. But they are saying that they think they've got the votes to get out Matt, and that nominating Angela would be the easiest solution. They mentioned at one point, hopefully Matt will be the one who wins HOH next week, because surely he'll put up Angela. He'll get the blood on his hands, because it's not just Angela, but who else he has to nominate. They feel certain Angela would be going home, but they don't want to have to get blood on their hands of putting up other people as well. So everyone kind of hoping that maybe Matt wins this next competition. All right, we've got Tucker talking to Angela. It appears, again, most people are distancing themselves from her, but it does seem like she still has Tucker's support. Tucker says at one point, hey, I'd come over and give you a hug if I could, but I know they're watching, which tells me two things. One, that Tucker is still trying to stay by Angela's side, but even Tucker is nervous about the appearance of him and Angela, that he's trying to, at least perception-wise, maybe not be so close to her, while still letting her know that he's kind of got her back. Maybe not so much, but at least telling her he's supporting her at this point. All right, we've got Brooklyn and T-Core at the hot tub, not sitting in it, because it's, again, probably not actually hot, lukewarm if they're lucky, but Brooklyn and T-Core sitting in the hot tub. Brooklyn is criticizing the way Angela has played, saying, I like her, but she just hadn't played the game well so far. Yeah, I kind of agree, Brooklyn. All right, we've got Cedric and Cam and Chelsea talking. They're wondering what would happen. They know these powers are here. They know that Mackenzie, or they assume that Mackenzie has the power. They're wondering if Matt is still on the block. Would Mackenzie use this power to somehow save Matt? That's the wild card. No one quite knows how these powers are going to work. We as viewers know that the power is already done. It can't be used at this point in time. It was part of the veto ceremony. So no, if Matt is still on the block, there's nothing Mackenzie can do to save him. But they're wondering if she may pull out a last second type move to shake everything up. It's not going to happen at this point in time. They are saying that if Matt is still on the block, remember, this is Cedric and Cam and Chelsea. They're saying if Matt is still on the block, that probably it maybe makes sense to go ahead and vote out Matt, because if they do that, then that leaves Mackenzie by herself. The dominoes will start to fall at that point in time. They feel like Matt's kind of the linchpin, perhaps. They're saying, and worst comes to worst, if Mackenzie does use the power, it at least flushes the power from her, and it reveals her hand. If she saves Matt, then we know that they're super tight with one another. So they're seeing a lot of benefit to having Matt on the block, and if they can send him out, if nothing else, at least it forces Mackenzie to use the power, they think, and declare her hand. All right, they think that Matt and MJ are certainly in a showmance. They're claiming that the word love has been used between these two. I've been listening to way too much conversation between Mackenzie and Matt. I have not heard that word used, but supposedly they've heard it. They've assumed it. They think it's a full-blown showmance. All right, we've got Lisa and Mackenzie and Matt on the block next week is who they'd like to see if they had the opportunity to make the call. Now, later we hear, I think them, at least Cedric and Cam, saying, we don't really need to necessarily win this it's part of this conversation, so I'm getting ahead of myself anyway. But yeah, they're saying if they were to be HOH, maybe Lisa and Mackenzie and Matt could go on the block. They mentioned Leah a couple of times, and Cam saying, leave Leah alone. Is it because of some personal feelings? Is it because of the barbershop connections? He's saying it has to do with the barbershop and exposing barbershop and all that. It could be, but leaving Leah alone, it would be Matt and Mackenzie, which would make sense, and Lisa as well. They talk about the Pentagon, the final five that they're in. They're talking about Lisa a little bit and whether they like her, but they're not real sure how they can work with her, things like that. Chelsea's talking about Lisa. She's saying, I watched that girl cut cucumbers, and there is no way that Lisa is a chef based on the way she cut her cucumbers. Yeah, Lisa's going to be hot and bothered when she gets out and sees some of these comments that were made on the feeds. Talking about hurting your reputation outside the house. Not as much Angela, but all the people saying based on her cooking and culinary skills that there's no way she could be a chef. That's what I'd be a little chapped about. Cedric is saying that Lisa just annoys the heck out of them, that she's just that kind of person. So they're all laughing that Cedric's not really a fan of Lisa. I think Chelsea maybe points out and says, oh, but she likes you, Cedric. You maybe could have something. He's like, she annoys me to no end. There's talk, as I mentioned a second ago, talk about none of them really needing to compete for the next HOH. Cam is saying, look, it makes it easy for us right now with so many targets out there, people taking shots at each other. Why would we get HOH? Why do we need to do anything? They're going to go after each other. They're going to pick each other off. We just have to sit back for right now. It was nice to finally see Cam doing some gameplay. He's been under the radar, but we haven't even heard any strategic talk too much from him. We're starting to get a little bit more of that. As some of the easy targets take each other out, I think we're going to hear a lot more from Cam. I think Cam is positioning himself very well in this game. All right, we've got, as are Chelsea and Cedric. These three, I think they're going to do well this season. All right, we've got Angela in the storage room. She's now upbeat, up and down. She was so upset in the HOH room. Now she's in the storage room, seems very upbeat. She's talking about that she really wants to continue to try to work with Chelsea and try to work with her. That she thinks that's her path is to work with Chelsea. And maybe that means with Cedric and Cam as well. But certainly she wants to try to get with Chelsea and develop some relationships there. She's saying that Rubina and Chemo, she appreciates the reassurances that they have given her. So she's feeling like she's at least got a possibility that she knows she's going to be a target next week, but she's got some supporters on her side and she's going to fight and do what she needs to do because that's what Angela does. So she's giving herself a little pep talk in the storage room. All right, we've got Quinn and Joseph upstairs talking about the fact that Angela has been spiraling, well, ever since she won HOH, really. Saying that Quinn and Joseph basically say final two without saying it. They hem-haw around, say, well, I think we're both saying the same thing, but neither one of us wants to necessarily be the first one to say it. And I don't think they ever did, but certainly those two guys are continuing to develop bonds and work together. They're talking about also maybe trying to work with Tucker, saying, yeah, at first we didn't really trust him that much, but that guy's should be athletic and competitive enough. He'll win some stuff that should help protect us as well. So Quinn and Joseph and maybe getting Tucker in to help him a little bit as well, which falls back into this same have-not Mr. Anderson's alliance of the have-not guys feeling close to one another. All right, we've got Rubina reassuring Chemo that he has the votes to stay regardless of what happens with BB Arena and all of that. And I think she's right. I don't think Chemo's going anywhere at this point in time. She does say, unless some weird something with these upgrade powers happens, you should be good. Well, we know it's not anything weird that's going to happen at this point in time. So yeah, we'll see Chemo next week as well. I do believe. All right, we've got Matt and Mackenzie in the backyard talking about life after Big Brother, about getting onto the show. They spent 5-6 hours out in the backyard. So a lot more conversations between these two that I really wanted to watch last night. But this is where it starts off. They're in the backyard talking about life. Certainly a certain amount of flirtation going on between these two. Now, we did get a few tidbits of information a little bit interesting. Apparently, Mackenzie has a boyfriend, a pseudo boyfriend. Maybe production wasn't completely aware of it because she and her boyfriend talked and said, 3.5 months is a long time. We're going to kind of be open about everything. Not exclusive. If something happens, it's okay. So she kind of has someone at home, but she also has a bit of a, call it a hall pass or permission, or has offered up that if something was to happen, that's within the realm of possibilities and acceptability and all that. So kind of a boyfriend, and yet not very serious, right? Yeah, I read into that what you will. At one point, a little bit later, Matt says, "Hey, I just want to get kind of, if anything happens between us, you shut that thing down. Let me know that that's shut down." He doesn't want to have this extra person hanging off to the side for when they get out of the house. But she has said that she's got this boyfriend or had a relationship outside the house. So we do hear that. Meanwhile, Matt's saying that production had told him, hinted to him, I think he said told, that they had someone for him in the house. And that, just come on the show and who knows what's going to happen, Matt. So he is talking about that. They apparently, and sure, I'm sure casting sat down and said, well, look at these two. They could easily become an item if they put them in together. So they're talking about that and relationships and such. Matt's calling his mentor, the person, I guess, that helped with casting and all that. Eventually, Kenny shows up. Kenny's basically the third wheel, shuts down all the flirtation at that point in time. Kenny's out there just hanging with them for a little bit. Eventually, we have a huge group in the backyard. No strategy, no game talk, just people hanging around. Leah, once again, taking center stage, running around, just having fun and keeping everyone entertained. All right, we've got Tucker and Joseph talking. Tucker's thinking, this is, I think, in that back mountain bedroom. Tucker's thinking that the have-nots and mascots for next week may get selected based on how people finish up in this HOH competition. If it's an endurance, the first people to fall from whatever could be the have-nots or the mascots. He's thinking that could be the case, but he's hoping that he gets to actually pick one instead because he wants to pick Lisa. I don't think it's, as I mentioned earlier, I don't think it's going to be an endurance competition. So I don't know that that's how you're going to have-nots. And well, I guess you could have the mascots based on whoever is first out, mental competition, physical, whatever it is. But I think there's a good chance they're going to let the have-nots pick the new have-nots. Even if that wasn't originally the plan, I'm sure as soon as he said, I'm going to pick Lisa, I'm sure at that point in time, production said, that maybe isn't such a bad idea. Maybe we will let him pick going forward. I think it's going to happen. All right, we've got Leah talking to the cameras about her PJ set, right? Of course. Now, she's trying to do this late night show. So she's talking about her PJ set. She talks about the fact that Lisa comes in and starts talking to Leah as part of the show. And she tells Leah, says, look, I'm not Miss Chaos in the house. That's not me. I'm the tree that's just blowing with the wind, just adjusting to what things are happening. Very cool and collected. Yeah, I'm not sure that Lisa's always the tree, but they are laughing about that. Eventually, Cam comes in. They start talking to Cam on her show about his PJs. And then Rubina and Brooklyn come in, and then they're talking about their PJ sets as well. Yeah, see a theme here. So they all are playing around with the cameras and having fun in the middle of the night. We got Chemo talking to Brooklyn. He's getting assurances from Brooklyn and Rubina as well that again, that he isn't going home. Everyone else wants to talk about the fight and talk about all kinds of things going forward, what could happen and all that. Chemo just wants to get people assuring him that he's safe, continuing to work to make sure he's got the votes. Chemo has probably done a better job of campaigning than anyone else, and yet he's probably the safest of the three people that are out there. All right, we've got a lot more flirting and talking about post Big Brother Live from Matt and Mackenzie. He wants to do podcast of some sort. He wants to travel around. He's trying to think what life's going to be like when he gets out of here. We do have a little bit later, Matt is over by the laundry area away from Mackenzie, and he basically looks at the cameras, talks to production, and says that he is locking it down right now. Yeah, he's locking it down. And then right after that, he proceeds to tell Mackenzie that one of his icks about her is that her socks are always dirty. That may not be part of the formula for locking it down, but he mentions that. And from that point on, production just kept zooming in with their camera on her feet whenever they got a chance, on her socks. So I guess Wiki Socks out there is very happy at this point in time. That was kind of funny, but again, a lot of conversations between these two in the backyard. Eventually, we have Cedric coming out talking to the two of them as well. He is saying that he thinks Angela is probably a clear target from basically everyone. That everyone, even if they are saying they support her, that everyone would probably be okay with Angela leaving the house when it comes down to votes, when it comes down to next week. I think Cedric may be right. Even Tucker will support her, but only from a distance. So yeah, I think Cedric's right when he says that. Cedric is saying he thinks that the three of them are locks for jury at this point in time because there's so many other targets, unless there's some flip-floppers out there. Well, who would ever think there'd be flip-floppers in the Big Brother house? Yeah, you're not to that point just yet, Cedric. There's a lot of gameplay before we get to the jury segment, but he feels like they've got a lock on it right now. He is all about the barbershop. He says that several times. Look, I'm just focused on the barbershop and getting us there. There's enough of us. Once we get, and he talks about comparing the barbershop to like the cookout from a few years past. And look, they didn't flip flop. They all stayed together. They stayed loyal, and they all made it to the end as a result. He's saying there's no reason we couldn't do that with the barbershop as well. Now, remember, we also have the Pentagon, which is a smaller segment of that. So you've got the big relationship, but you got some smaller ones as well. Matt is saying that if he does win HOH, and I'm sure he's going to be gunning for it, if he wins HOH, he'll put up Angela as the target. No surprises there. He'd probably put up Joseph alongside her, and then he doesn't know who the third one would be. Maybe Tucker. He doesn't really know, and it's kind of just thrown out there. I don't know that he knows what, because he's only focused on getting Angela out of the house. Between him and Lisa, yeah, Angela is certainly a target for next week. All right, talking about they're talking about Angela some more. I think this is Matt talking to Mackenzie, talking about Angela. He says, look, I told her that she just couldn't say anything that she wanted the way she's been doing. He says, but she was very dismissive to me. She tends to only want to talk game talk. She doesn't want to talk personal. And it drives me crazy, infuriates me. I don't remember what his words were, but it does show that as much friction as we've got between these two, some of it may just be based on personalities. Angela's in there. She's all about the game all day, 24/7. It's all about the game. Whereas Matt is the kind of player that wants to go in there, develop the relationships, the bonds, and then use that to further his game. So he's a little bit more about the personal. Angela is not. Neither one is wrong. Neither one is right. It's just different ways to play the game, but they're bumping up against each other because of it. And I think that's led to some of what we've seen so far. So there you have it, guys. A whole lot of conversations, mainly between Mackenzie and Matt. But primarily it was the fight between Lisa and Angela, which we missed out on, but I'm sure we'll be seeing it here before too long. Finally, everyone in bed by about 4:30 or so Big Brother time, 6:30 Houston time. At one point, Matt tells Mackenzie, says, we can't keep staying up till 4:30. It's just not going to work. I agree. You guys have to go to bed at some point in time, so I can go to bed at some point in time. Here's to hoping. All right, there you have it, guys. Again, kind of an exciting Tuesday night, more than I expected. Tonight, we should start seeing some campaigning. We'll see what happens. It's always exciting inside this house so far this season. Guys, y'all have a great Wednesday. I will be here tomorrow morning to talk about eviction day and maybe what we think is going to happen. Until then, guys, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends.